Hello, everybody, to a new Boca English podcast. I know we just recorded one a few days ago, but I feel that this is a very important one. It was reported 2 days ago that Fernando Gago was fired as the Boca Juniors head coach. So we're going to touch base on that super fast. We don't want to bore you with everything that we said already. But the big question for you, Rodri, why now?
I don't know. We kind of know. We talked about this. By the way, hi Facundo and hi to the audience. We talked about this on Sunday, and we explained all the ways in which Gago fucked up and why we got here. What it's and I think it's the right decision because Gago proved once again that anytime he faced a big game that he was going to do something stupid and hurt Boca. So I think for that reason, I think the time was now because it's just like the time was right last week. And just like it was like back when we lost to Alianza Lima, like it was a story that was basically finished. It was just a matter of time. Like the next big loss was gonna trigger, Gago's exit. But it's weird because now we're like basically on the eve of the playoffs, and we just don't know what the future comes. Obviously, there was no replacement lined up. We're going to talk a little bit about the names, yeah, later on in the show. But it's just like, why now? We lost the Super Classico by playing a stupid formation that we all saw coming. So that that's kind of like my quick takeaway of why we are in the situation that we are right now.
How do you feel about the fact that people are saying that why to do it right after Super Classico? Why didn't you do it against Alianza Lima? Like, why
Well,
are we doing this now? Why did you postpone it 7 weeks to do something that we knew was going to end bad?
Well, there's obviously there's a money component, right? Boca paid a pretty high release buyout clause from Chivas, and where Fernando Gago, I think they paid something like some reports said $2 million, some said $1 million, but Boca paid to kind of get him out of that contract and gave Fernando Gago a pretty lucrative contract, himself, and with a buyout clause where like if you decide to get rid of him, you have to pay him a bunch of money. So like the way this works usually is that like when a coach doesn't perform and it's very clear that he failed at his job, then the coach kind of leaves on his own. Especially with when you're in the team that where you grew up. You're not gonna like just like price gouge the team, your home team. You're usually just gonna go like, just pay me until the last day I worked, and it's like, thank you, which everyone goes on their way. So like my idea is that like Riquelme, back at when the Alianza Lima disaster happened, he was probably like, man, I paid a bunch of money to get this guy in. It's only been 5 months. Like, it's not good for the club finances to just like pay. I read something like $3 million this time. I don't know if it's that much. I don't know. There's usually some haggling and negotiating, but like Riquelme was like, man, if I just wait a little longer, if I let the fans like bully him enough, maybe he's just gonna quit on his own and I don't have to pay him. Well, that didn't work. Gago stayed through the 7 weeks, fucked up again, lost the Super Classico, didn't quit, and now we have to fire him and we have to pay him. So I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a terrible situation for all of us. Like for the board, for the fans, for the players, because you come into like you said, like we're about to play the playoffs. We need to win the tournament. Like we need to qualify for the next Libertadores, and it seems like we're not going to be there if we have like a new coach every few months. So reports have been saying that Erron, the reserves coach, is going to take over once again. So this is the third time in the last 3 years. So he coached it. It's going to be 25, 24, and 23.
Yeah.
He's going to be coaching the first team for at least a game. So it's reported that he's going to be coaching Sunday against Tigre. And to be honest, we don't know exactly if he's going to be coaching the playoffs if we have somebody line up for the coaching position. But if I have to give my opinion, I think that they're not going to hire somebody before the playoffs, that they're going to give a run the next few games. So at least two games. And then we're going to play out the playoffs. And then after the tournament ends, before the Club World Cup, they're probably going to try to sign somebody. It would be a big disaster, I think, if they do not sign somebody before the Club World Cup. But to be honest, I have no clue what's going to happen. What do you think about that, Rodri?
Yeah, just to give a little bit of context, anytime Boca fires their coach, it becomes an absolute shit show. like we have like all the different reporters that cover the team, and then some of the national media and some of the columnists, and like everyone seems to have a different name that is like about to like sign with Boca. It's crazy. We hear like a dozen names within the first like 6 hours, right? And obviously, over the years we've come to know which ones are the more like trustworthy, and which ones are the ones that you might want to just not trust. uh, but having said that, it's Milito, it's Quinteros are some of the names there. But I also agree with you. I think also like just the easiest thing is to do absolutely nothing. Not the easiest in terms of like in terms of pressure, but like just Riquelme and the board, the Consejo de Fútbol, like they are not the quickest negotiators. And my problem with that is that when you fire a coach, especially when you're in charge of a team like Boca, you should have a replacement lined up. And especially if it's a situation with Gago where we knew this was going to come to an end sooner rather than later. So after Alianza Lima, you should have been back channeling with coaches and be like, hey, if shit were to hit the fan, would you be able to come? What would it cost? Things like that. That's the role of of the board. That's the role of that's management. Management manages. You get ahead of situations. Obviously a big part is making decisions like firing someone, but you gotta have someone lined up, especially when it's like a week away from the playoffs and when it's a tournament that you have to win. This is not like a league where like because like Boca is in first place, but like next week that doesn't matter anymore. We're the number one seed, but like we're in the same position as everyone else. It's not like we're like in first place and we have like 5 points on second place, and as long as we just win a couple more games, we'll win the title. That's not the format anymore. Now there's playoffs. So now, once we hit the playoffs, I mean, we're in the same shape as everyone else. So I
Yeah,
just can't believe that they didn't have a replacement in place. So to me, it's going to be a run going forward.
yeah, I think so because if you think about it, it wasn't easier for them either. I'm not defending them at all. But if you think about it, they lost against Alianza Lima. Everybody was hunting for Gago. We didn't fire him. And then after that, we won literally 7 games in a row. So in their mind, probably was like, all right, we found somebody that is playing well, is doing what we're supposed to do. He had bad luck, if you want to call it bad luck, against Alianza Lima, because if Cavani would have scored a goal in the last minute, we would not be talking about this. So let's say that they have bad luck, and then the coach won 7 games in a row. He's in first position. I think that they were as shocked as everybody else by Gago's formation against River.
Yeah.
And that probably told them that if we want to go and win something big, this is not the coach, because clearly in the big games he's not going to perform. And that's okay. So they did a good move, I think, to fire him.
Yeah.
Some people like it, some people don't like it, just for the fact that he did it right after the Super Clásico, something that's always going to be a stain, in the board, because you fire somebody right after the Super Bowl, the Super Clásico.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a run, 100%. The question I have for you is like, so we have a big tournament coming up in like maybe 2 games, if you think about it. what are we going to be doing when we come to the USA and playing it? Are we going to have a new coach? If we do have a new coach, how is the new coach going to approach that, right? So your first game is going to be against Benfica. Second game against Bayern Munich, that potentially could be a disaster if you think about it.
Yeah.
And then the third game against a New Zealand side. So you have 3 games to play your first 3 official games in a big tournament. It's like telling somebody, it's like, hey, you're going to take care of Argentina's World Cup. And your first game is like the first group stage game, which is mind-blowing if you think about it. But never in the history a team approach a big tournament like that. So I'm not going to say that we're in big trouble because we still have a team that won the last 6 out of the 7 games. But it's going to be tough. I think we're going to be in choppy waters for the next 6 months. I have no clue who's going to take over. I feel like with the Bianchi consideration that they came out today, that just tells you one thing, that the media has no clue.
Yeah.
And this board was something that this board showed us in the last bunch of years. It's like they are not going to tell anybody what they're thinking of. Like every time we knew or we thought that they would do something, they would do another thing. Every time we knew that they're going to hire this player, they got another player. So to be honest, the Milito, the Quinteros, the Kili Gonzalez could be possible because those are the coaches that are active. But to be honest, we have no clue who's going to come. If I had to pick with Boca's money, I would bring somebody from the outside, right? I would spend $10 million for a big coach, somebody that won league titles before, somebody that maybe won a Libertadores. I don't know who that is. We don't have any of those in the Argentinian football, just because in the last 10 years, no coach but the real coach won the Libertadores.
Yeah.
So that's not in our local league. Should we go to Brazilian league? I don't know. Should we go to Europe? I don't know. The thing is, like, for the last 6 coaches, we had been experimenting, right?
Yeah.
This is a time that you cannot experiment anymore. This is do or die. You get it right, or you literally die. In the meaning that you have 2 to 3 years left in your board before the next elections. You cannot not get it right now. You had to get it right. We gave you 6 to 7 coaches that you failed. Basically, you failed like job. Like you said, manager or the consejo, picking the players and picking the coaches. You failed. This is a time to put the money where your mouth is. If you cannot make it happen, they're probably going to be done in 3 years. People are tired of it. People are tired of the experiments in Boca. And you cannot experiment in Boca. So hard to pick. We're talking about who's the favorite. Most people have Milito as a favorite. I do not like to have Milito just because we're going to go back to the Martinez, to the Gago, to those coaches that want to experiment with Boca. And Boca is not like that. Boca has one way of playing, and that's it. If you hire a coach and they ask you what position is Changuito, I just want him to say forward. I don't want him to say, extended, left, blah, blah. No, just forward, midfielders, defender, and a goalie. That's what we need. That's Boca. That's what Boca is. That's how you're going to win a tournament with Boca, because like it or not, you had to build into the philosophy of a club, of a team, right? So you cannot go to Real Madrid and do the tiki-taka. You cannot go to the Barcelona and do what Real Madrid does. You cannot. It's not going to work. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. And some people like it. Some people don't like it. Some people want Boca to play this way, but Boca is not like that. And for me, if you keep it to the basis in everything in life, you're going to do fine. If you pick somebody like Quinteros, which, to be honest, I don't know nothing about it. Maybe, but Quinteros is more like not a modern coach. He's going to grab his 11 players, play them the way that Boca used to play, like Falcioni or maybe Bianchi, but Bianchi changed a lot on his years. Maybe who else? Basile. Play that way, and you're going to be fine. I'm going to roll out Bianchi. I'm telling Bianchi to not come. Go to France. Winter is coming. Just go to France. Go to Nice. Beautiful. Go to Monaco. Enjoy yourself. I'll be happy if he comes. Of course, I'm going to be cheering for him. Of course, he's the #1 coach in the history of Argentina. but that's just a nonsense. That's
Yeah.
journalist being drugged and spitting information that he doesn't have. It's
I
pretty much what I have, to be honest. I don't know what else
Yeah.
to tell you.
No, I mean, well, a few things. First of all, I wouldn't be happy if Bianchi were to come, because he already came back for a third time, and he just was kind of like he'd been away from the game for too long, and now he's been away for like 11 years since the last time he coached the team, and like this will be kind of like just pouring more, salt on the wound of like being another idol that we would have to be in a position of just having to criticize if he does bad. And I actually think he would do bad, because he's just too old. And there's nothing against, he's like, we love him. Like he is one, like he made us so happy. He gave us memories for a lifetime. So I just want him to stay, in France, stay in the statue, stay in the photos and the videos, and just stay there. So I don't want him to come. I think he would do badly. I think our players are too stupid to get along and do what he would want him to do. So no, I don't want Bianchi. I don't think he's coming either. So I don't think we have to worry about
What
that.
will
And
you
then
do if you are Riquelme today? What will you do?
I would call Quinteros like today. And some reports, again, we're trying to give you the best information that we think is the most accurate. We both agree that the Bianchi stuff is not accurate. It's just a pipe dream, and it's just yellow journalism. I think I do think that Milito and Quinteros are the top two candidates. And some reports say that Milito has some doubts about just taking over. For the playoffs, he would be more comfortable taking over after but before the Club World Cup, which would make some sense, because if you think about it, like if he like takes over and then he like loses in the quarterfinals to Racing or something, then like he would already like be like 2 games into his tenure, he would already be wounded. So like I
Well,
get.
that happened
Uh,
to Gago, if you think about it. Like,
yeah,
we forget
basically.
about it, but when Gago lost against Estudiantes, which was a mandatory win to qualify for the Libertadores,
Vélez.
even though
Or Vélez in the
well,
semifinal.
oh, Vélez, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
So
the
if you
4-3
think about
semifinal.
it, yeah, so that game, we knew no one bat an eye. No one was against
Yeah,
Gago. We lost, and
yeah,
no one blamed Gago because it was like he didn't have preseason, he didn't have anything. But in the end, when you look at the stats right now, everyone's saying Gago lost against Alianza Lima, against Vélez, against Racing, against River. So
yeah,
you add that. So the new
yeah,
coach that comes in, let's say that he wins against Godoy Cruz, then he beats Racing, but then he loses against Independiente in semifinal, or even worse, he loses in a final. That stain is going to be in his
yeah.
you know
His resume, yeah, and he's already like his tenure, like a couple of weeks in, he's already like in the back foot, and fans like already kind of having doubts about him. So there's that situation. And then so I can see why a good coach, a coach that's in the position of like rejecting Boca, or just like putting some like preconditions to taking over at Boca, would say that. I think Milito, he does a lot of good things. I also think that he is like, if you look at his resume, he has like one like state title in Brazil. Like his resume is empty. Like he hasn't won shit. So I don't, and I've liked a lot of the things he's done. I think that if he is a true worker, and he is what people said Gago was. People said, "Oh, you give Gago time and he's gonna build for the future." Bullshit. Gago doesn't build. Milito builds. It takes time. I don't think Boca has the time. But if Riquelme was like, listen, we gotta stop the wheel. We gotta start building at some point. And like Milito is the guy that I want to build, and I'm gonna like back him no matter what. I'm gonna back him. I'm gonna keep him for a full year. And then like if he fails, it's my fault. You insult me. Leave him alone. If Riquelme comes out and says that, I'll be like, okay, that's right with Milito. But Riquelme's not gonna do that. Riquelme's not gonna
what
just protect
just
anyone
to
like that.
no 100% I agree with you. So just to finish it up, right? So we'll make it super long because you guys just listened to us 2 days ago.
Yeah.
What could be the worst possible
Oh, that's
outcome?
Well, I mean, the worst possible outcome is like a bad coach like Kili Gonzalez. He's just like, he hasn't won anything. He's pretty new. He's failed pretty much everywhere. He's just like, he has like he would like probably party with the players. I mean, he would be a total fucking disaster, and he would like wouldn't make it to like October. So like he would be at the top, and he would probably get us like out of position to like qualify to Libertadores 2026. So that would be a fucking nuclear disaster. So like now the next worst bad outcome is like just keeping a run and like just kind of like just speculating. It's like, oh, maybe like, kind of like, what he did with Bataglia. He's like, oh, let's just see if Bataglia can do it. And Bataglia somehow won Copa Argentina and stayed when we were like, no, this is gonna fail. So and then he did the same with Ibarra, and it did also just miraculously worked. And instead of being like,
So do you
thank you,
think that
Ibarra,
they're not gonna take a chance to do that again?
I think they're gonna keep him. I actually think they're gonna keep him. Like
Ron. So you think that if a Ron comes out here and somehow wins the tournament, right? Do you think they're gonna keep him until the end of the year?
100%. Yes. Like that's just to me the needle that they're gonna try to thread is, so they're gonna like keep a run. They're not gonna say anything. They're not gonna like say he's our permanent coach, but they're not gonna like, even if they strike a deal with someone else, they're not gonna announce that one either. So it's just gonna be week to week. The thing we hate, uncertainty. We're gonna get a lot of that over the next month. Like, so it's gonna be a run week to week, and then in the meantime, they're probably going to be talking to Milito, and they're going to come to some sort of agreement, most likely, where Milito's like, yeah, sure, I'll take over after the playoffs. But then it's like, what happens if Erron wins? If Erron wins, there's absolutely no chance in hell that they fire him. No way, because Bataglia pulled the miracle and they kept him, and Ibarra pulled the miracle and they kept him. So like, if Erron wins the title, dude, it's Erron all the way. And like, which sucks because Erron is a bad coach. I watch the reserve games because I'm sick in the head. He's a bad coach. Like, he's gonna coach us on Sunday.
The game just ended. The research game just ended.
Yeah, they were winning 1-0. I don't know what the final score was.
They finished 4-1.
Oh, good. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. They've won like their last 8 games in a row. Like,
they're in first position right now.
Yeah, no, they are. They actually started battling and then they won 8 games in a row. Now they're in first place. That doesn't mean he's a good coach.
No, I know.
We have good. No. I'm telling the fans, because obviously, like the audience, they probably don't spend time watching the reserves because they're not, fucked up in the head like I am. But like, just he's not a good coach. What he is usually is like a pretty like down the middle, like normal coach. Like, he doesn't touch do
what is not broken, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, for example, if he would have gone to play against River, he would have played 4-3-1-2.
Yeah.
He's the kind of coach that he might not take a Zenon to the next level, right? But he's not going to just break what is working. So he was just middle, which I'm not saying that's what we need, obviously, but the uncertainties want to kill us. So like you said, I love that you said that to the fans who listen to us. Expect a lot of uncertainty in the next, I think, probably 3 months, to be honest.
I mean, unless we win the title, I don't think Riquelme is gonna have. He won't be able to just not have a good coach for the Club World Cup. It's just the pressure is gonna be unbearable. But for the playoffs, dude, he's gonna coast. He's gonna gamble on a run, and I hope to be wrong, because like I do think that not only I think that Quinteros, I think Quinteros will be a good coach. I don't think he's a savior by any means, but I do think that he has a very long career, and he's had a chance to make a lot of mistakes, but he's also won titles in Bolivia, in Ecuador, in Peru,
Argentina.
And he won the title with Vélez. He took a last place Vélez team who they saved themselves from relegation by a point at the end of 2023. And he got that team with no budget, a very good academy, but no budget. And he made him champion.
Yeah, he won the league back to back. And another thing that we should talk about, like, he grabbed a team that was 1 point from the relegation. He won the title, a long title. Those titles are usually Boca or River. That's
didn't he make the final in the?
Yeah, he lost the final against Estudiantes.
Yeah.
He lost the final against somebody else.
Copa
He lost,
Argentina, Central Córdoba. Yeah.
but yeah, so he lost two finals. He
Yeah.
won the
Oh,
league,
three
which,
finals actually, because the trophy of champions. Yeah, he lost. I guess he lost three finals, but he made the
but don't
final in
forget,
every competition he played.
yeah. And the last thing that people don't talk about, after he left, Vélez went 7 games without scoring a goal or
Yeah.
winning a game.
Yeah. They're in
So
last place now. Yeah.
so that's also counts. Like if you lose a coach and then the team, which is a championship team, goes 7 games in a row without winning, that tells you that he was
He made it
important in the
work.
team.
He made
Yeah, he
something
made it
work
work.
that doesn't work at all, and he
The
made
only
it
thing
work.
that worries me a little bit is like he left Vélez because obviously he got into a fight with the president, but then he went to Brazil
Yeah.
to Grêmio. Grêmio, which has been middle to last in Brazil lately, but he got fired. I mean, don't get me wrong, the thing in Brazil is like the Gaucho or the Carioca
The state
tournaments that they
tournament,
have,
state tournaments.
the
Yeah.
state tournaments, they take it like a war because they play against all the local teams and they literally take it like a war.
Yeah.
So he failed, he lost the final for that tournament, and he got fired. That's the only thing that scares me, that he got fired too fast in Brazil. But the skills that he has, I think he could grab our team and make a solid team,
Yeah. He has the ingredients. The other thing, and we can probably just wrap up here, the difference between Milito and Quinteros is that for the way and the formation that Milito wants to play, Milito plays usually with three in the back. He would meet Bataglia again. He had him in Atletico Mineiro. But like Boca right now doesn't have the players to play with three in the back, because we don't have like fast defenders, and we also don't have just like wingers that can just cover like the length of the field. So like that would be a problem. So he either would have to just change the system and do something that he's not used to doing, or he would just have to improvise some players until July, when we can buy players. But this will be after the Club World Cup. So you're kind of risking just doing a terrible job at the Club World Cup. Now, Quinteros, the way Quinteros plays is a much more kind of conventional, 4-3-3, 4-3-1-2. And Boca has the players for that. And not only that, Boca has shown the last 2 months of playing like that, they can actually get a lot of wins. So like I think Quinteros will be a good fit. I think he's more mature. He's won more things. He has more experience. He's dealt with more bullshit, along the way. He play, so like he might not have played for FC Barcelona and won Champions League like Milito did, but he's been in the streets, in the mud. He's seen it all. And I think that's counts for something. And obviously he's just like much lower profile. He's not the wonder kid. He's not gonna like
Isn't that
coach the
dangerous,
national
though?
team. Huh?
Isn't that dangerous? And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think that could be dangerous because our roster have a bunch of brats, of players that don't respect their coaches. For example, I think that Martinez left because he got eaten alive by the roster.
Yeah.
How can Martinez tell Rojo what to do if Rojo is this little brat that played in Manchester United and this and that?
Yeah.
Same with Quinteros. How can a coach that has no background of big teams talk to these brat new players, like these generational players that are like, how is he going to tell Rojo you cannot come and party after a game? Or like even Palacios, who we don't know if he's still in Chile or not. How are you going to tell Palacios not to go to Chile? So that's something that scares me with Milito. Milito could be a good coach because he played in Barcelona, he played in this and that, he won titles. That's the only thing that scares me. I'm not saying that Milito is the answer. I like Quinteros more than Milito because I think he is more into the Boca
more
gene,
Boca style. Yeah.
The style that Boca plays. But that's what scares me. A coach has nothing in his resume to actually go against this brat of a team, because this is what they are.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's 100% a valid concern. My kind of like tongue-in-cheek response was like, did they listen to Gago? he played in Real Madrid, he played in Roma, he played in the national team, he played in World Cup. Like, did they listen to him? No. Like, they just like they ate him alive too, you know? Like in when they went to Peru to play Alianza Lima, like they just totally just walked the field and like and did nothing. And you know, when and even River, you know, even with a bad formation, the players which they also like played scared and they didn't even just kind of like break out of the mold and like, hey, let's play, forget Gago, let's play for Boca, let's play for pride. They didn't do that. They didn't care. So like, just, I mean, the players are a completely different issue that we'll talk about more in depth like later on. I think we need to get rid of like most of, and you said this last on Sunday, we need to get rid of most of the captains and the leaders and the veterans. But like, I wouldn't make my coaching decision based on that, because I sort of assume that the players are just gonna try to like eat any coach alive. So just get the one that you think it's the best fit and pray for the best.
All right. All right. With that being said, for everybody listening again, we wanted to do a quick episode to talk about the coach. We don't want to overwhelm you guys with information, but I think it was appropriate to talk about something so important.
Yeah.
We have another game on Sunday against Tigre, the last game of the regular season, if we want to talk about it. So right now we're playing against Godoy Cruz. So that's probably going to change. Most likely it's going to change. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Anything you want to say, Rodri?
No, that's all. We'll come back. We'll be here next week, to talk about, the kind of like the preview to the playoffs and who we're playing and the bracket and everything else. Obviously, an update on the coaching situation, if there is one. We're not expecting one, but like, who knows? We just wanted you to just to get our analysis and because this is huge. This is a huge. We were not even as pissed as we were on Monday when we recorded. We did not see this coming. I did not think that Gago. I thought that Gago, if he was gonna get fired, it would have been like Sunday night, and we just didn't see it coming, and then boom, it happened. So that's all we have for now. We'll keep you posted. And just keep following along on Twitter and just check out our YouTube channel and listen to the podcast. Recommend it to your friends, and because we want to grow the community and that's all.
All right, so everybody, I love how you guys are reacting to the Twitter and everything. So keep sending us information, what you like, what you don't like, questions, concerns, who you think is going to be coach, what do you think we should do. Anything is helpful, and we love chatting with you guys on Twitter. We're gonna keep it flowing as much as we can. So perfect. I love it. Thanks again, and until next time.
Bye, guys.